It is fair to say that when any presidential candidate speaks and makes predictions, there are always skeptics, the experts on both and no sides who understand better than the candidate the reality of their claims. Such can especially be the case when it comes to our economy, because it's obvious in this election, like so many we have witnessed, politicians claim to know what is monetarily best for America, but far too often they are as clueless as a 12-year-old seeking to understand the tax code. Which brings us to Republican frontrunner Donald Trump and his weekend precedent that America is on the verge of a massive recession, a claim not one expert of the economy agrees with, and many see as nothing more than a fear tactic designed to bring people up in arms, believing he is the only one who can fix the problem. All right, break open the piggy bank. Let's go ahead and get to work. Welcome back to Wall Street veteran, noted national economist, and author of The American Dream Under Fire, Steve Beaman, joined by the veteran economist, founder and managing partner at Harrington Capital Management, Kyle Harrington. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and begin with the words of the man himself. An interview with the Washington Post. Donald Trump raised fear of an economic collapse. We're sitting on an economic bubble, a financial bubble. If you look at the stock market, I'm talking about a bubble, he likes the word bubble, where you're going to a very massive recession. Hopefully not worse than that. But he says it again, a very massive recession. All right, Steve Beaman, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you then. Is Donald Trump correct?
I don't think he is, but he's playing in the kind of in the waters with Peter Schiff and Mark Faber and those guys, assuming that because we've had a Fed-generated boom in the stock market, that day will come to an end, and with it, the good economy. But I do think he's also playing on a general malaise in the economy. We've spoken about before with our 2.5% growth rates, where even though we're not technically in a recession, a lot of people feel that we're just not doing that well.
Well, here's something else. And Kyle, I come to you on the second part of his statement. He insists that we are on the verge of a massive recession and that he will be able to get rid of the nation's more than $19 trillion national debt over a period of 8 years. I don't know about you, Kyle, but I have looked at so many different numbers and so many different articles here in the last 24 hours. There's not one economist that believes there's any truth to this whatsoever.
Well, I'm not so sure there's no truth to it. I think the word massive recession, massive is a bit much, but I do think when you examine the GDP growth, when you examine how many individuals in the U.S. are out of work, I don't care if they say it's a 5% unemployment rate. I'm saying 96 million Americans out of work. When you look at the malaise, is a good word, in the stock market, where we're not seeing any direction. In the beginning of the year, we saw a big sell-off. March, we did have a good month. I want to see stronger job numbers. We haven't really seen any significant job numbers. So recession, I'm uncertain, but I will say that in no shape or form are we in a good economic position in the U.S.
Kyle, granted everything you said, but when you use the phrase massive recession, is this just a scare tactic?
You know, it may be. I think that massive is a bit much, quite frankly. I do think that the market could trade down here 10%. I'm talking the stock market, the Dow Jones, the S&P very much. I don't know what actually triggers the word recession when we are in that, but I don't think massive is the right term.
All right, Steve, let's go to something else Donald Trump said. And again, it affects what a lot of people will do on a day-to-day basis, business-wise, and we've talked about it here. It is a tenet of Donald Trump's statements where he said, China is winning, China is beating us, China is killing us. But Steve, I'll tell you what, as you look at a lot of the experts, again, we only have those to go on, they say it is simply not true. China's cheating when it comes to trade, but they talk about the fact that global business execs say the USA is the best place in the world to invest and do business. And more U.S. manufacturing executives say that from now until 2020, they're going to add factory capacity here and not overseas. So is it, again, a bit of an extrapolation and an exaggeration to keep saying that China's winning?
I think it is a definite Trumpism. I think he's exaggerating it. You know, from his perspective, because of the currency manipulation the Chinese have done, they're winning everything. And I just don't think that's the case. The United States still has the strongest economy in the world by an awful lot. And the Chinese are putting money over here much, much faster than we're putting money over there. You know, he was harping on the trade deficit. Well, I've written article after article about this. Part of the reason we have a trade deficit is we're just so much bigger an economy. It's natural we will import more goods into this massive economy than export into other economies. So I think on those levels, he's just a little overstating it. And I also think he's ignoring the fact that China is in some severe economic trouble. They've got their own problems with a recession that's kicked in, or at least a slowdown that's kicked in that surprised them.
Kyle, I only got about 30 seconds left. Would you agree then that it's just an over-exaggeration and we are a better economy than China?
we're the best dirty shirt in the hamper, but make no mistake, we're a dirty shirt right now. Having said that, I think we are the best shot on goal in the world in terms of the economy. You have Chinese insurance company buying up major real estate assets here in Southern California, where I sit, quite frankly. They also bought the Waldorf Astoria last year, so they're looking to deploy money over here. The question is the trade deals that we have in place with them. I do think that they work more in China's favor than they do in the U.S.'s favor, and it is worth the time to look under the hood with respect to that.
Absolutely. Don't just take it for granted. And best dirty shirt in the hamper, my friend, you have come up with something that has to be put on a T-shirt, quite frankly, because that's the kind of stuff we yearn for. Kyle Harrington, Steve Beaman, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk again. Money and the greatest band of cheats and liars in America. Next in Telling It Like It Is.